Hello, everyone. This hour on Verbling, the next in my great short stories classes. In this class, we're going to be reading a classic author, H.G. Wells, the guy who pretty much invented science fiction, more or less. There was one before him, but he's famous for science fiction books like The Time Machine and War of the Worlds. So we're going to read a short story by him. And I'm going to help you out because I've simplified some of the text to make it easier for you. And I'm going to give you a word list which will help prepare you for some of the vocabulary you're going to see. So we're going to begin that in just a minute. Let me just do a quick introduction before we start, and then we will get started. I'm John Eric, your Verbling teacher for this hour. I'm an American teacher from New York, coming at you today from Lisbon, Portugal, to bring you this class. And by the way, if you click on that link in the chat window, you'll go to my profile page and you can follow me there by clicking follow to see all my upcoming classes and to, excuse me, and to book a private tutoring class as well. Okay? So that's a bit about me. Let's say hello to Carvalho. Hello, Carvalho. How are you?
I'm fine, teacher. Thank you for asking.
You are from Brazil.
Yes.
Because your name is Carvalho, which is Portuguese. So I know. Where are you from in Brazil?
I live in Rio de Janeiro.
In Rio. Okay, fantastic. So what time is it there? It must be very early.
It's 7 o'clock.
Why are you awake? It's 7 o'clock, Carvalho. You should be asleep. It's too early.
I'm preparing to go to my job.
Ah, okay. So you're going to get in a little bit of reading before you go to work today. Very good. Very good. Very good. And let's say hello to Mr. Paulo. Hello, Paulo. How are you?
Hello, Eric. I'm fine, thank you. Nice to see you again.
And are you from Rio as well? Because Carvalho is from Rio. Where are you from, Paulo? I forgot.
No, I'm from Belo Horizonte.
Belo Horizonte.
Yes. Minas Gerais state.
Maybe this is going to be the class of Brazilians and Carmen. Brazilians and Carmen. Carmen will be an exception. Maybe. I'm going to put the material on screen for you right now. Give me just a second. And I'll give you the link if you don't have it. Where is it? Here it is. And first, okay, let me give you the link. First, I want you to take a look at this picture. Give me a second. Take a look at this picture and tell me what you think. What do you think about this, Carmen? You like it?
Yes, I do. What is that?
This is a real picture from a medieval book. Not medieval, late medieval, early Renaissance, called the Book of Miracles, because this story is the story of the man who could perform miracles. So I want you to see the Book of Miracles, which is, you can see the date down there, 1496, I think it is? 1496, yeah.
Yeah, 1496, that's it.
Can you read that text?
No, but I can see the date, 1496 in red. The top of it.
What language is that? What language is that text? Can you see? Let me see if I can fit it on the screen. Give me a second here. Yeah, you can see it a little bit better. If you read that text, magical things will happen. So be very careful. Be very, very careful, okay? So let me tell you, I'm just putting that because the title of our story is The Man Who Could Perform Miracles, and I wanted you to see an example of miracles.
I think it's German or something like that. That's not Latin, that's not Spanish, that's not English. It looks like German.
It does look like German. It does look like German. I'll tell you in just a second. I don't have the link to the original. I unfortunately I lost it. It's from a website. I lost the link. But give me a second. Yeah, German Renaissance. Yes. One of the most important works of the German Renaissance, available to art lovers everywhere. There you go. It's German, and it describes the apocalypse. So there you go. You've got your apocalyptic creature. Describes various miracles. Let's go up here. Before we begin, I'm going to do things a little differently for this class, because in the previous classes we read, and as we were reading, what I tried to do is I tried to take the words that you had difficulty with and try to help you understand them and things like that. I'm going to do it a little differently. What I've done is try to simplify the text, and I want to get you started with some vocabulary to make it easier for you to encounter new words. So, before you begin, let's do a little warm-up. I showed you that picture from the Book of Miracles, but I've got a question for you. The question is, do you believe in miracles? Describe a miracle that you have heard about. Describe a miracle that you have heard about. Do you believe it was truly a miracle? Can you think of anything that comes to mind from the news, from folklore, or maybe something that happened in your life? Have any of you experienced a miracle?
I believe in miracle, and because the life is surprised all the time, and I'm a believer too. And I saw last week or last month a lot of testimonials about people said they were cured against cancer.
Yeah?
Just
how were they cured?
Well, first of all, they said they believed in God.
So faith.
God can, yes, faith.
Faith healing. Yeah.
Yes, and after that they looking for the prayer and looking for the church and God, and through their beliefs, they said God operation inside their body and release cancer and pain and other things like that. I think the Brazilian people are very religious, and in some region of Brazil we have a lot of testimonials about miracles that people got a lot of things like cure of disease and cure about the poverty or bad situation.
You can also say here, superstitious is another good word here. Superstitious. Right? Not just religious, but superstitious. Meaning that, although you got one good point too, Paulo, miracles tend to be religious miracles, right? We usually think about religion when we think about the word miracle. And it usually has something to do with God intervening, right? Divine intervention. But also, you could say, you said religious, Brazilian people are religious. Maybe superstitious is another way to say it, because it's not just connected to the church, just belief in things that we don't have evidence for, superstitions. All right, very good. Have any of you experienced a miracle yourself? Just out of curiosity. Valerie, have you experienced a miracle recently? Besides the miracle of seeing me in class? Besides that miracle, any others?
The miracle is that I succeeded to connect, but no, my childbirth was a miracle for me.
Okay, very good, very good. It's almost something that's hard to believe that it happens because it's like magic, miraculous. So we can describe things as miraculous, by the way. That's another good point here. Miracle, miraculous, spelled like this. Excellent. Well, so we've got the word miracle, Let me ask one more question about this. When I say the word miracle, what kinds of things come to mind? So we have faith healing, we mentioned a moment ago with Paulo. What kind of miracles come to mind? Because it'll help us with the story that we're going to read. So if I say, think about the title too, the man who could perform miracles. What do you think the man will be able to do in the story?
Some kind of magic.
Some kind of magic?
Mm-hmm.
But you mean magic tricks? Like illusions?
Yeah.
Ah, okay.
But for instance, I don't believe in miracles because I'm not a very religious person myself. But for instance, you know, the Nepal earthquake, you know, when they took out that baby has been there for nearly 1 week or something like that, and they rescued him from the wreckage.
Right.
Remember him?
Yeah.
It was just a baby. For me, that's a miracle.
Absolutely.
Nothing to do with religious issues. I mean, it's something that he was lucky and they just took him out.
Right. So part of the word miracle is that it's somehow against...
Outstanding, something that is not very usual to happen.
Exactly. Against belief. It's hard to believe. It's inconceivable almost. Right? Against maybe normal belief. I'd say it like that. So, yeah, absolutely. There was a 100-year-old man that they pulled out of the rubble in, was it Nepal?
Yeah, in Nepal too. There was the baby and the old man too.
Right.
100 and something.
Yeah, 101.
Mm-hmm.
And the earthquake didn't kill him. I mean, if you can survive an earthquake and live to 101, I guess you're doing pretty well.
Two miracles at one time.
Yeah, amazing. Okay, very good. Now listen, let's take a look at some vocabulary here. I want you to, let's see. So I've given you an X in a bunch of sentences here because you're going to encounter these words in the story. What is X in these sentences? Find the words in the word list to take the place of each. Now, you can just guess if you like. It might not be obvious, though. Or you can take a look at a word list of difficult words, which I put on the last page, 19. And I've given you a definition and a part of speech. Okay? So these words might be a little bit, some of them are going to be difficult, some of them not. Like the word miracle is defined. And you can see it at the bottom. An action that seems to be impossible or is thought to be caused by God. Okay? So if you've got this open in your computer, you could browse down there and pick a word that you think fits. All right? I'm going to put the questions on the screen, though. Okay? Or you can just say another word that you think fits the sentence. So let's see if we can try to prepare ourselves for some of the more difficult vocabulary. I won a prize at the village. The village. The village what? So for those of you looking, go to page 19. For those of you not, tell me what word you think is best. See where we are, everyone, in letter A?
Yeah.
Okay.
You mean we've got to find a synonym for village?
No, you got to replace the X with a word. Not clear?
Village inn.
The village inn. Interesting. It fits because village can be an adjective describing something. Village inn could be describing inn. Could be.
An inn?
It's one of the words from the word list.
Yeah.
That's what he's saying. Could be. Remember, these are going to be sentences. These are going to be sentences related to the story. Okay. I wonder if there's a better one than in. Let me take a look. Because my idea would have been the village fair.
Okay.
But I don't see fair. I don't see anything like.
But you've got fair.
Look. We do. Look what we have. Look in the middle. We don't have fair, but look what we have there in the middle. Fait.
Yes.
Yeah, there we go. We like these French words in English because to us they sound really fancy. So the example here for A would probably be fait. Probably. Oops, let me see if I can. Oh, I can't put the circumflex on my E. There we go. Because my guess would have been village fair, and fête is something like fair or festival.
Mhm.
So that's probably it. All right. So Mr. Carvalho, look at B. Give me your best guess.
Okay, teacher. The electricity has gone off. Have we got in?
Any?
Let me check, teacher.
Mm-hmm. And if you can also just put your own word there, and then we can compare it to the list. What do you think?
Teacher, I have something in my mind, but I don't know how to say in English.
Say it in Portuguese.
Okay, curto-circuito.
Ah, circuit.
Yeah.
Oops. Like this. Hold on a second. So to say that core value, we'd have to say something like, have we got any... we can't use circuit in that sentence. It's a good idea, but we can't use it the way the sentence is written. Have we got any... We probably need light to see the circuit breaker. So circuit... Ah, maybe, Carvalho, maybe you mean light switch. Oh, maybe that's what you're trying to say. Because I don't know how to say that in Portuguese. Well, how do you say turn on the light switch in Portuguese? Ligar a luz. But how do you say the actual thing where you flip the switch? Is that called a circuit in Portuguese? Because you can say, have we got any? The problem is the word any. We could say it like this. Is...
Teacher.
Yeah.
The letter X is related to some problem.
It's related to a word which you will probably find on page 19, but you can also make your own guess. So you can choose a word from the list because they should all match up, or you can put anything that makes sense. So in that sentence, have we got any, you can't say have we got any switches because of the word any, but you could say, is there a switch for the light? Not circuit, but switch. The little button on the wall that you flip. Is there a switch? Okay? And Carmen, you said?
Candle?
Okay.
Have we got any candles? Plural? Yeah. That could work too. Okay, very good. Anything else fit in letter B before we go on?
And matches.
Have we got any matches? Yeah, why not? Got any matches so we can just see what's going on. Light a match. Excellent. C. Who wants this one? Valerie, why don't you take C? If I were a blank.
If I were I would buy a big house, first car, and a boat.
You can use your imagination, or you can choose a word from page 19. Either way.
You could say if I was a rich man, but it's
This is not Fiddler on the Roof.
Baron, no? No.
Say again? Repeat?
Baron.
Baron? Baron? Like this? Baron?
B-A-R.
Look at the chat window, Valerie.
Yes. Well, yes, but it's in your list and it's with one R. You know? The fifth.
One R? Why is it with one R? In the list it's with one R? I didn't even look at the list. Is it there? Hold on. Oh, you're right. You're right. You're right. I guess that's British English. One R. Title for an upper class man.
It's a
Valerie?
French word.
I think that's a good guess. It's good. So from the list, if I were a baron, I would buy a big house. And Carmen, you said millionaire. If I were a millionaire, so maybe nowadays we would use millionaire, but in the time that the story was written, we still have this royal system.
Yeah.
Okay.
Currency is better.
So what is a baron, by the way?
A title?
It's a title, yeah. Okay. Baron.
Yes, but it's a way to call people in France, you know.
Is it?
If you say someone, you are a baron.
What does it mean?
The lord, someone important. You know?
Okay, yeah. So that's what Carmen was saying. It's a title. It's a title. Just like nowadays we might say doctor is a title. Right? Lord was a title in the old days. Her Majesty is a title. So baron is a title. Okay, very good. Vitaly, what about D? My blank has helped me. What do you think?
My golden medal graduate has helped me to examine my childhood and think about its effect on my adult life.
Too many words. Too many words.
What?
Too many words. Too many words.
Okay, a golden medal graduate is just enough.
Okay. What about one word? My blank has helped me to examine my childhood. I know. My psychiatrist has helped me.
That's it. Psychoanalysis.
My psychoanalyst.
That's the one in the list.
My shrink has helped me to examine my childhood. Another word. That was what, D? Another word for psychoanalyst. Slang word. My shrink. Because we used to say that they were head shrinkers. You know, the stereotype, somewhere there's some cannibals living in the jungle that will shrink your head and carry it around their belts. So that they were called head shrinkers. Because it was voodoo. Freudian psychoanalysis was considered voodoo, pseudoscience. So they're a bunch of head shrinkers doing voodoo on you.
Those kind of Indians don't shrink their heads. You mean there's a name Jibaros or something like that in the Amazon?
I have absolutely no idea. Is that the name of the tribe?
Yeah. What they
Really?
do, they used to do, they shrink the heads of the enemies they have killed.
Right. That's what I'm
They
thinking
shrink
of.
it. I think it's called Jibaros. I don't know.
Yeah.
In Spanish.
Oh yeah, I've seen it. They like boil your head.
Mm-hmm.
And it gets-
Absolutely.
exactly, and it's pretty nasty actually. But it's a good way to remember who you've killed, in case you forget. Right? You can put it on your keychain when you start your car in the morning. Everyone can see it. Wear it around your neck. Very good idea. Okay, one more. It was an old-fashioned formal occasion. My boyfriend even wore a formal occasion. Old-fashioned. This one's
Top hat.
top hat. Putting on my top hat. Putting on my white tie. Anyone? No? Okay, I won't sing. Unless you ask me. Ask me nicely and I'll do it. All right, listen. On the next page, I've got some things I want you to keep in mind as we read. To make sure that you're following the story, how many miracles does Mr. Fotheringay, oh, it's a little difficult to say that, Fotheringay perform? So you're going to keep a tally of his miracles at different locations as we read. Okay, so we'll refer back to this periodically. Let's get started. Let's go past our Book of Miracles on page 4 and go to the story on page 5. And let's go from right to left this time. So we've got Vitaly, and then Valerie, and then Paolo, and then Carvalho, and then Carmen. Vitaly, take the first 2 paragraphs for us.
Okay. Until he was 30 years old, Fotheringay did not believe in miracles. In fact, he discovered his own unusual powers.
Making it bigger.
Thank you. Unusual powers at the moment when he was climbing that miracles were quite impossible. He was having a drink at his local inn, and Toddy Beamish was driving him to the limits of his patience by disagreeing with everything he said. "So, you say," answered Beamish, whenever Fotheringay spoke. There were present, besides these two, a very dusty cyclist, the innkeeper Cox, and the fat Miss Maybridge, who served behind the bar. She was standing with her back to Mr. Fotheringay, washing glasses. The others were watching him.
Why was the cyclist dusty? Was he old and neglected? Why was he dusty?
What is cyclist?
Cyclist is a person who rides a bicycle, particularly when you go on a long tour, like our friend Mr. Mikkel in the class yesterday, who's got a picture of him cycling around. He's not here today. So,
Okay.
instead of going cross-country on a car, you go on a bike. You're a cyclist. What about the Tour de France? Look at my French accent. What about the Tour de France? Tour de France. Those are cyclists, right? Why was he dusty? Because he was probably...
Dirty.
Yeah, he's dirty. He was out there on the road. And maybe at the time this was written, the roads weren't even paved. Maybe they were just dirt roads. Maybe. I don't know exactly the year. Okay. And fat Mrs. Maybridge. What's her job besides being fat?
Maybe she's cooking?
Yeah. Her job is to be fat and maybe to cook. Something like that. Okay. Very good. Very good. And last question. What was Toddy Beamish doing? Remember, he was driving him to the limits of his patience. So what was Toddy Beamish probably doing?
He's argue with everything.
Exactly. Yeah, being generally disagreeable, arguing, contradicting whatever the guy says. Okay?
Okay.
All right, very good, very good. So, Valerie, why don't you take the next two, and let's find out about Mr. Fotheringay. Now, these are not divided up into perfect paragraphs, so, and I don't have numbers, so I'll just kind of, why don't you take that part with the dialogue up until about very well, up until that part, okay? Valerie, go for it.
Listen, Mr. Beamish, said Mr. Fotheringay, annoyed by his opposition. Let us clearly understand what a miracle is. It's something against the laws of nature, done by the power of will. Something that couldn't happen without being specially willed. So you say.
So you say. Good.
Mr. Beamish, said Mr. Beamish. The cyclist agreed with Mr. Fotheringay.
It's like the worst name ever invented. Fotheringay. I know it's an O, but it's either faux or fa. Oh, maybe it's faux. Maybe it's faux. Yeah, Fotheringay.
Fotheringay. But the innkeeper didn't express an opinion. For example, said Mr. Fotheringay, it would be a miracle. That lamp, in the normal course of nature, couldn't burn like that upside down. Could it, Beamish?
Keep going until you get to very well.
You say it couldn't, said Beamish. And you said, Fotheringay, you don't mean to say? No, said Beamish at last. No, it couldn't.
No, it couldn't. By the power of will, Valerie, what does that mean?
Just wanting the thing.
Exactly. Just wanting. Exactly. The power of will. When you will something, you do it through your mind. It's mental. When you will something. Okay, Paolo, why don't you take it from very well? And let me just fix the pages so you can see them back to back. Give me just a second. Turn off the page view. Now I lost my page. Okay, so very well. So it's roughly, there's really no way for me to divide this up. So we'll do the best we can. Everyone's going to probably read 2 or 3 times anyway. They're quite short. Take the next 2, Mr. Paolo.
Very well, said Mr. Fotheringay. Then here comes someone, perhaps myself, and stands here, perhaps, and says to that lamp, as I might do, collecting all my will, turn upside down without breaking and go on burning steadily, and hollow. It was enough to make anyone say, hollow. The impossible had happened. The lamp hung upside down there, burning quietly, with its flame point down. It was as solid as ever a lamp was.
Oh my God! The impossible happened, Paolo. Do you believe it?
Maybe.
Maybe. So, he said it was impossible, and just by saying it, he made it possible. Interesting. Keep going, Mr. Carvalho. Next to Fotheringay, or Fotheringay.
Mr. Fotheringay stood with a finger stretched out, and the troubled face of one expecting a terrible crash. The cyclist, who was sitting next to the lamp, jumped away. Miss Maybridge turned and cried out. For nearly 3 seconds the lamp remained as it was. A faint cry of pain came from Mr. Fotheringay. I can't keep it up, he said, and longer. The lamp suddenly fell, broke on the floor, and went out.
Very good. Just a quick question. What did Mr. Fotheringay mean when he said, I can't keep it up? What was he doing? I can't keep it up any longer. What was he doing that was so stressful and difficult? Is that clear?
I'm trying to understand the sentence, the whole,
So,
whole paragraph.
Where was the lamp, Carvalho? Where was the lamp? That's the first important thing. Was it on the table? What was the miracle that happened? Is it? If it's not clear, I'll help you understand. Don't worry. So, where was the lamp? Do you know?
I'm trying to find out, teacher.
Well, let me help you. The
in
lamp,
the air, teacher.
Yeah, exactly. The lamp is floating in the air by magic.
Okay.
So, when Fotheringay says, I can't keep it up any longer, we get the idea that he's keeping it up with his mind. He's thinking it up in the air.
Okay.
There you go, there you go. So, remember, this is the guy who a moment ago said miracles were impossible, and to prove it, he said, for example, a lamp can't just burn upside down and then suddenly it does, just by his words or his mental effort, something like that. All right, so, Carmen, let's find out what happens next.
It was lucky that I had a metal container and the whole place would have been on fire, or the whole place would have been on fire. Mr. Cox was the first to speak, remarking that Mr. Fotheringay was a fool. How do you pronounce it? Fotheringay?
I think it's Fotheringay, yeah.
Fotheringay.
I don't know if it's father or fother. Maybe it's fother. It's the worst name ever created in the history of literature.
It ends with gay.
Yes. Mr. F. Mr. F.
Okay. Mr. F himself was astonished at what happened, The conversation we followed gave no explanation of the matter, and the general opinion agreed that Mr. Cox's view that Mr. F was a fool for playing such a trick. His own mind was terribly confused, and he rather agreed with them.
So, what happened here with Mr. with Mr. Cox? Mr. Cox, does he believe in miracles?
No, he said that he was a fool, Mr. F.
Yeah, why? Why is he a fool?
I don't know. That's what he said.
Because it's the
Well, for playing such a trick.
Yeah,
For playing tricks.
Exactly. For playing such a trick, right? So he thinks, oh, okay, I'm not gonna,
No, he didn't believe it was kind of magic.
You're not gonna fool
A
me.
trick.
That Mr. Cox. No one gets one past Mr. Cox. Okay? But Mr. Fotheringay was the guy who originally said these things were impossible, and yet they were. So, Anna Carolina, let's find out what happens when he's accused of playing a trick.
Okay. He went home, red-faced and hot. He watched each of the street lamps nervously as he passed it. It was only when he found himself in his bedroom that he was able to think clearly. He had taken off his shoes and was sitting on the bed, saying for the 17th time.
Like this, 17th.
Thank you. It's difficult. 17th.
You got a little longer on the E. 17th. E. 17th.
Okay. 17th
Good.
time. I didn't want the thing to turn over. When he remembered that just by saying the commanding words, he had willed the thing to happen, he decided to try his new power again.
Okay,
Carry
one more.
on?
One more. Let's find out what happens when he tries his new power.
He pointed to the candle and collected his thoughts together. Though he felt that he was behaving foolishly, but in a second that feeling disappeared. Be raised up, he said. The candle rose up, hung in the air for a moment, and then fell with a crash on his table, leaving him in darkness.
Oh my God! I can't believe it. It's a miracle. Hey, by the way, look at that sentence, be raised up. If you can tell me what verb tense that is, you win a cookie.
It's imperative sentence.
You just won a cookie.
I
I don't know how I'm going to get it to you, but you're right. Be raised up. It's the imperative, and it's also
the past tense. Raise it is the simple past.
No. Here it's not the simple past. It's the passive voice. Be
Passive
raised.
voice. Oh, okay.
Right.
Passive voice.
But it's
Okay.
the imperative, and it's not something you often see like this. Be raised. It means somehow you're going to be raised up. We don't know who or what is doing it, so we can't express it in any other way. Be raised up, like be good.
Teacher, I thought he should say rise, because someone has to raise it.
It's true, but in this case, it's happening by magic. So he's using the passive voice. I guess it's the passive voice in the imperative, I suppose, something like that. What was I going to say? But anyway, like what I said before, be good, something like that. Well, that is a miracle, and Vitali, we're back to you for a time.
Okay. So he pointed to candle, yes.
Uh,
He felt his pockets, yes.
Oh, no, sorry, next one. For a time, Mr. Fothering.
For a time, Mr. Fotheringay sat there perfectly still. It did happen, he said, and how I'm going to explain it, I don't know. He felt his pockets for a match. He couldn't find none, so he felt on the table. He tried his coat, and there were none. There were none there. What does it mean? I don't know. And then
I lost you. Wait a second. There were none there.
There were none there.
Like saying there weren't any. It's the same. There weren't any. There were none.
There weren't any. There were not. Thank you. And then I came to his mind that miracles were possible even with matches. He stretched out a hand. Let there be a match in that hand, he said. He felt a light object fall across his hand, and his fingers closed on the match.
Oh my God, Vitaly! How does he do it?
He's a magic man. He's a magician.
Amazing. Amazing. Well, now that he knows he has this ability, what do you think? What do you think he's going to do with it?
I think it's illusion with the matches. He's shadowing some match in the hands and just showing in the time. I don't know.
But then why is he surprised? Is he fooling himself? Or is he just crazy?
Maybe I miss this.
Right now he's alone, right? Because he went back home and he's trying to, we have an expression here, he's trying to figure it out. He's trying to wrap his head around the problem. He's trying to figure it out. How did this happen? But I'm going to put that vocabulary word or expression in the chat window because it's a good way to describe it. He's sitting in his room trying to wrap his head around. And, yeah, maybe he's becoming a wizard.
Yes.
Or maybe he's had a little too much to drink when he was at the pub. I don't know. Not sure. Okay, we'll find out. Valerie, take it away. I think he stopped with... Oh, I already moved it down. After several. Start there for us, please.
After several useless attempts to light this, he threw it down, and then he realized that he could have willed it to be lit. He did so, and saw it burning on the table. He picked it up quickly, and it went out. He became more adventurous and put the candle back in its place. "Be lit," said Mr. F., and immediately the candle burst into flame. For a time he looked at it, and then he looked carefully into the mirror. "What about miracles now?" said Mr. F., speaking to his own shadowed face.
Why does he ask that question, Valerie? What about miracles now?
Because he was convinced at first that miracles were impossible and claimed it, so he's...
So how would you describe him in the beginning of the story? What's a good word for people who don't believe in miracles? He was what?
He was certain it doesn't exist.
Okay, so he was. We have an expression. He was maybe firm in his belief.
May I, teacher?
Yeah.
He was skeptical.
Skeptical.
Yeah, that's the word I was looking for. He was a skeptic. He was skeptical. And I can't spell it properly. Oh, it's with a K. Who knew it's with a K?
Yeah, with a K.
It's got a K. I thought it was a C. So, Valerie, you might describe him as skeptical in the beginning of the story, or even worse. Maybe he was even stronger than skeptical. He was.
Yes, for me it's stronger than skeptical because he was claiming it's impossible, whereas Mr. Toby, the first man, Mr. Toby
He
Mitch,
was talking.
was trying to convince him that it's possible. So
That's it. That's it. So maybe not skeptical. Maybe we need a stronger word. But we can still use the word skeptic, because skeptic is someone who doesn't believe outrageous claims, doesn't believe things without evidence. So he is still a skeptic, or he was, and maybe now he's not. So Mr. Paulo, I think we have time for everyone to do one more. So Mr. Paulo, take it away from Mr. Fotheringay was.
me.
No, we're on to Mr. Paulo next.
Okay.
Mr. Fotheringay was become very confused. So far as he could understand, he had only two real things, and they would happen. After his first experience, he wished to be more careful, but he lifted a sheet of paper into the air and turned a glass of water pink and then green, and got himself a new toothbrush. By the early hours of the morning, he had decided that willpower must be unusual and strong. The fears of his first discovery were now mixed with pride and thoughts of how he could use his powers to his advantage. He heard the church clock strike one and undressed in order to get into bed without further delay. As he struggled to undress, he had a wonderful idea. "Let me be in bed," he said, and found himself there, undressed. He said in finding the sheets cold, added quickly, and in a soft woolly nightshirt. "Ah," he said with pleasure, "and now let me be comfortably asleep."
Comfortably.
Comfortably
That's
asleep.
it.
Thank you.
Wow, he sure got used to his powers fast, didn't he? He went from being a total skeptic, and now he's just one after another. His wishes are coming true. I wonder what's going to happen. Let's do two more paragraphs and then speculate about what's coming up with his newfound powers. So take it away, Carmen, from He Awoke.
He awoke at his usual hour and wondered if his experiences had been a dream. He decided to test his skills again. He had 3 eggs for breakfast. 2 were supplied by his housekeeper. One was a much better egg, laid, cooked, and served by his own unusual will. He hurried off to work, very excited. All day he could do no work because of his astonishing new self-knowledge, but this did not matter because he did all the work by a miracle in the last 10 minutes.
When you were a kid, didn't you used to imagine the same thing? When I was a kid and I was in school, like 8 years old or something like that, it used to kill me that I couldn't get the work done by magic. I used to I would sit there and try to make it happen, and it never did.
Really?
Really? I can relate to this personally. I know exactly how it feels. Because it was so boring in school, so utterly boring. We learned nothing. And then I just wanted to sort of will it to happen. And then I did something even better. I just quit school. Because I got sick of it. All right. Okay, we got time for one more. Anna Carolina, take it away as the day passed.
Okay. As the day passed, his state of mind changed from wonder to pleasure. It was clear that he must be careful how he lifted anything that was breakable. But in other ways, his powers seemed more exciting the more he thought about them. He increased his personal property by making new things for himself. But he could see that he must be careful about that too. People might wonder how he got them. After supper, he went out for a walk on a quiet street to try a few miracles in private by the gasworks.
What are gasworks? This is an old story, so it might not be clear. What are gasworks? Do you know?
No, teacher, I don't know. And I don't know supper.
Supper. Supper is what
meal.
Is the word? Yeah, it's a meal. What's the word in Portuguese for supper? Ceia?
Cena?
Yeah, but in Portuguese I'm forgetting the word.
Ceia, teacher.
Ceia. Ceia. A meal before an early dinner, a light dinner.
All right, thank you.
Because you have in English from the Bible the Last Supper. A última what? Ceia? Ultima Ceia. That's it, yeah. And works is an old way to say factory. Works. We don't really use it anymore. So the gasworks is a kind of gas factory. So probably this is like, I would guess, this is like turn of the century or something like that. Before electricity was wired and people were using gas, or maybe early 20th century, something like that. Let's take a minute and reflect. This is by H.G. Wells, who you might know from The War of the Worlds, which was a great book. The Invisible Man. Oh no, that's Stevenson, isn't it? Is H.G. Wells The Invisible Man? Say again, sorry?
I liked it.
Did you read the book?
The story. No, I liked it. This story from your class. I like this kind of story. Yes.
He's a great author because he writes very clearly, but there's a lot going on. So the words are simple, but there's a lot going on. He makes you think. And you'll see later on. We're not going to be able to do the whole story today, but we'll talk about it. But have any of you have any of you read anything else by H.G. Wells or seen any of the numerous movies made out of his books?
He wrote a story about time machine, you know?
That's it.
1984? It was written by him? Okay, then, yeah.
No, that's Orwell. That's Orwell.
Ah, okay.
Who was probably a very big influence. Probably that was a really big influence on Orwell, actually. You can see an interview with H.G. Wells. Maybe I can put a link there for you later. Interview him talking with Orson Welles. He was very articulate, and he knew what he was trying to achieve when he wrote. He wrote simple stories, but they were kind of like fables, and they had a message. So that's what's interesting. And what I like about them, like I said, when I was a kid, I used to do the same thing. I feel like he writes things that we can all relate to in some way. We all have this wish or this experience, and we've thought these thoughts. So it's very interesting.
I have to confess that even nowadays, as an adult, when I see Harry Potter, I have the same feeling.
I'm not sure if I'd tell anyone else outside of this class, but I know what you mean. So before we go, I want you to remember you've got some exercises in the middle. I want you to count up the miracles. See if you can get the right number. We'll compare answers. What do you think is going to happen now that Mr. Fotheringay has these powers? What do you think is going to happen to it? He's kind of discovered how to control them a little bit, and he's starting to do things like add to his personal property. What do you think is going to happen?
I bet he will become more and more power, and suddenly a villain will appear.
And then what?
Maybe he will be trapped.
And then he will win the fight against the villain, because it always happens in this kind of story.
Maybe.
John, sorry, are you doing another session for this story?
Say again, what?
Are you doing another session for this story?
Yeah, it's too
late. We haven't finished it yet.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to do it next Friday.
Okay then.
Because it's a short story, but it's too long. But I chose it because it's easier than others. And what I'd actually like you to do, what do you think? What about reading it on your own during the week, and then we talk about it in the next class? Does that sound like?
Sounds good, because it is very interesting. I like I like it a lot, teacher.
Very good. Good to
And
know.
you haven't reread it, we can discuss about it, and we know all the facts already, so
Yeah,
might be better.
Let's do that. So I'm not going to actually read the rest of the story. We'll just talk about it, but we may reread some important parts of it, okay? And also, think about those. Don't forget that I've got also, before we go, don't forget, I've got those things for you to do while you're reading, which is on page, I'll tell you in a second, on page 2 and 3. And at the very end, before the word list, I have discussion questions as well. And we'll do those in the next class. And you'll see those on page 18. Okay? So you can think about those when you're done reading, and that's what we'll do in the next class. All right? So, whatever you do, be careful with your powers between now and then. Okay? And I'll see you next Friday for this class at the same hour, 11 GMT. And of course, Monday, 10 a.m. for pronunciation practice, and our next business class at 11 a.m. Have a great weekend, everyone, and happy magic. See you soon.
You too, teacher.
Thank you, teacher.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Have a nice day all. Bye-bye.
Thank you, bye.
Avada Kedavra.